Alright, you bunch of scallywags, how's it going? What a lovely day. Look at this. Look at this beautifulness. The sun's gone in. It's 10 to 7 this morning. 10 to 7. The bees are flying around. Everything's happy. The birds are tweeting. This is one of my favourite fields to come to because they keep the grass quite low, which is great for radio controlled cars. And the only downside to it though is a lot of dog walkers come around here, which means there isn't any to demonstrate, but quite a lot of them don't pick up their dog's dinner from last night. So you have to be quite careful, but it seems to be fairly good this morning. So we're playing around here. Some of you say, what's happened to the car parks? Why don't you go to them car parks anymore? Well, you lot, I tend to go to those in the winter because in the winter, all the parks and fields around here get wet, obviously, and I don't like getting my cars all wet because it means I've got to clean them. And they also get quite muddy. So I make the most of the fields in the summer. The parks, the fields, all that in the summer while I can. And then in the winter, that's when I go to the industrial estates and the car parks. Anyway, you know what we've got here today. You've seen the title. Hobao Hyper Cage Truggy. One of the best, in my opinion, Nitro Truggies that you could probably buy. You don't really hear about them. You don't really see them. I don't know why. I really don't know why. They never come up for sale second-hand. That's because people just don't want to get rid of them. They buy one, they keep it, because you get superior quality with Hobao. So this one's brand spanking new. Never been ran, never been started. So today, I'm going to sound like an American now, in this video, no, we're going to get it running, get it running and get it running. That's the one. Got all the tools necessary. I've got the heat gun over there on the other side of the old toolbox. There's the heat gun. We're going to do this one properly and run it in. Got a 150cc nitro tank there, so it's going to last a fair while on the old running in tanks. Yeah, happy days. Let's get it going, shall we? I reckon we should, yeah, definitely. Yeah? What do you mean? Manuel? Ha, ha. Manuel. Well, I'll tell you where Manuel is. Dunno. And I see Myrtle the other day. Myrtle come past and she said to me, what's going on, Orinoco? I said, I don't know. What is going on, Myrtle? I haven't seen you in a long time. And she said, no, I haven't seen myself either. I said, right, okay then. Where's Manuel? She said, I don't know. I said, where's Johnny Boy? I mean, Johnny Boy is the iconic, you know, the iconic John. I mean, where is he? And even Myrtle doesn't know where Johnny Boy is. The last time I see Johnny Boy was down the paper shop. Walking around in the paper shop. Don't know what he was doing there. But, yeah. Anyway, let's get this going. Right, we're being dripped on by some water at the moment because well, it rained overnight. Only a little bit, enough just to keep the dust down, so to speak. And it's on the trees. We're below a tree here, so a little bit of rain dripping on us. Anyway, let's put the first ever dribble of nitromethane explosive fuel in this tank. Look at that. This is 25%, in case you were wondering. It's 25% OptiFuel. Yeah, that's it. There's no more to it. That's it. Let's give it a bit of a heat up. And then we'll fire up for the first run. Turn that on. I set the fail-safe. The fail-safe says it was set from the factory, but it wasn't. So I've done that. Got all that now. There we go. I've put a hump pack in there. So we've got a 6-volt hump pack for the receiver. Using everything standard. It all come out of the box standard. It's important to remember these Hobaos, they don't come with a glow plug when you buy them new. This one come without a glow plug. Luckily I had one turbo plug left in the drawer, so I didn't have to go and buy. I forgot all about bloody Hobaos. I forgot they don't come with glow plug. Show glow plugs, whereas Hobao don't, which is no problem at all. So I put one in. I haven't started it yet. I've not started it at home. Old Grumpy Bollocks next door has been home most of the time when I've been home, so I haven't done it. So I did try to change the exhaust pipe for the JP2 that I've got on the bench at the moment, hanging up. I changed it for that, but the manifold was too short, it wouldn't quite go around, so I'll get another manifold, I'll get a longer manifold, and I'll put the JP2 on this. It's always best to run an engine in with the exhaust that you want to run on it, because it'll be better. Anyway, let's do the first fire up, shall we? Oh, I've got to prime it first, you twit. We'll do it your way. I don't normally... Of course. Alright, you lot, you saw what happened. Now the thing is, this pull start is stuck. There we go. Bit floppy. Now, this Truggy is lucky that it's landed in the hands of me, because a lot of people, probably including quite a lot of you, if that happened to a brand spanking new car, you'd be attacking it, you'd be putting it down, you'd be saying all the bad things under the sun about the manufacturer and the car itself, and then you'd probably just say Nitro is rubbish. But let me tell you something, everything has teething problems. Even the almighty electric RC car can have faulty parts on it from brand spanking new and have teething problems. A sticky pull start is not a problem that we can't overcome. Now, it goes without saying, it ain't exactly ideal, but these things happen. You could spend 40, 50, 60,000 pounds on a brand new real car and it have problems with it. So before you start shouting at the screen like a lot of you probably already have, haha, we keep telling you Nitro's no good, think about it. You could buy a mobile phone, a laptop, a bicycle, a car, a brand new house that you spend hundreds of thousands of pounds on, and it can have issues. Fair enough, the manufacturers, the people will repair those issues probably, but we never know. If this is broken, this pull start, because it broke on the first pull, if it is actually broken, yeah, I'll contact the shop that I bought it from and we'll see if they'll send out a replacement. If they won't, because a lot of the time with Nitro they won't, with any RC car in fact, they won't replace parts because people are stupid and they break stuff and they blame the thing, whereas in actual fact it's them that have broken it. So, but we'll find out, we'll see. Very worst case scenario, I'll have to buy a new pull start. Best case scenario, I can mend it now. Second to best, I can't mend it because it's actually broken and they'll send me a new one. We'll see, we'll find out. Let's have a look at it together and find out exactly what's wrong. It actually worked out a little bit of a virtue that this broke, because although I was quite looking forward to running this in, because this broke, I actually nipped back home and I went and got the Savage Octane and I did a spontaneous run of that and it turned out very good. Bit of an issue with the throttle towards the end of it, I think. I think the little screw come out on the servo and I didn't bring any tools with me because I thought to myself, well, if this one doesn't work, I'm not doing anything else because I've got other stuff to do. But that actually turned out really well and it had a really nice run. It went for all 3 gears. The engine ran like an absolute dream. What a champion of an engine. HPI did a really good job of making that Savage Octane when they made it. It really is. I say it all the time and I'll keep saying it. It's a really massive shame that HPI and other companies don't come out with fun things like that anymore. That being said, Hobao make this, and although this isn't a particularly good advertisement for it, this is a great Truggy, and they do this in buggy form as well. I think it's brilliant. They really thought outside the box when they made it, and hopefully we won't have any more issues, because I don't like giving you lot reason to put things down. You lot love putting things down, all of you do. You'll find all the negative things about everything. You never look at the positive outlooks, a lot of you. Right, let's see, because sometimes a pull start can jam like this. Sometimes it can be because the screws on the back are too tight. Other times it can be the space in between the pull start or the one-way bearing is a bit too small, but you'd think that this would all be adequate. So I think what we'll do is, to save messing around, and we'll have a proper look at it. I'm not going to be able to get me Allen drivers in there to take the pull start off, without taking the engine out. So we'll undo these bolts. And we'll take the engine out this way. That way I shouldn't have to remesh it afterwards. It's a bit risky using these ones, but we'll get away with it hopefully. Got another two to do. Mustn't lose that washer. There is an upside to playing around with a brand new car. And that is, it's not all oily. It's not all oily and dirty. You don't get covered in oil and grease and dirt like you do if you're working on one that's been thoroughly used. But I don't mind getting a bit dirty. Right, let's take these out. I'm going to have to undo the bolt. I'll take the air filter off, one or the other. That can come out of there. Do you know what I forgot? I totally forgot that Hobao use a ridiculous engine mounting system. That's one thing that I don't like about Hobao, and I forgot that they use it. And FTX actually adopted it. Well, I don't know, it was probably Hobao that invented it. You got little bolts, little nuts, in that engine mount, and yeah, they come out, so now I'm going to have to realign them. So I would have been better off undoing the bolts underneath. Never mind. I've done it now. I completely forgot about that. Completely forgot all about it. I'm like a cock. Never mind. I'll remember it for next time. That's one thing I don't like about Hobao, because the Hyper 7s and all that, they all have the same engine mounting system, and it's crap. I don't know why they do it. They still do it to this day. Every model, every manufacturer, every buggy, everything has little downfalls. You won't... I know some of you are going to say, well, I've got this one and everything's perfect. Well, that's great for you. But everything has downfalls. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. Every single product that a company brings out will have some kind of downfall. You know what I mean? It'll have something which is a bit annoying, or it's a bit of a bad design. Everything does. Anyway, oh, throttle's still connected, isn't it? That's a pair of long-nosed pliers. A pair of long-nosed pliers will mend that issue. There we go. Right, now we've got an engine. Yeah. Oh, they've not got bolts in these ones. Okay. So they have changed it slightly then. There's not bolts in them anymore. They've got plates. Okay, that's interesting. Well, that's a little bit easier to do then. There's like little plates in there that are long. Whereas before, there used to just be a nut in there. And you had to try and line the nut up with the bolt, and it was a blooming pain in the bottom. But now, I've not seen that type before, so that's good. That's good. Of course, you're all going to go, well, I've seen it. That's been about for years. How could you not have seen that? Oh. Well, listen. Perhaps you have. Perhaps you haven't. I don't know. And I don't care. Here's our pull start. It's got Hobao written on it, which is nice. Very nice. Yeah, I do like Hobao. I think they're a good... seem to be quite a good company. Been about for donkey's years. They know what they're doing. Thing is, you don't see a lot of their cars around. You see a lot of Hyper 7s. Hyper 7s have gained a lot of traction over the years, but the Hyper 7 itself's been around for probably 20 or more years. But that's gained a lot of traction over the years, the Hyper 7. But other than that, in fact, I would put money on the fact that if you said to someone about a Hyper 7 buggy, they'd probably know what it is from that name, but they wouldn't know that it was made by a company called Hobao. I would actually put money on that. Yeah, not a lot of people do really know about them. Now let's see if we can get this pull start off without the spring coming out. We've got to take this bloody exhaust off. Come on. So it's stuck to the what's it, look. Well, that's interesting. That's interesting. Johnny, what are you doing? I haven't seen him for a while, by the way. Some of you are asking about Johnny Boy. I don't know where he is or what he's doing. Yeah, let's bring him back in now a little bit. I don't know where he is, what he's doing. Old John. He's a crazy one, old John. You know, Manuel's much the same. So's Myrtle. Myrtle's a bit like that. Sometimes, from time to time, she'll just nip off and you'll be like, where are you? And she won't. Then she'll pop back one day and be like, oh, I'm here. Yeah, crazy. Right. Come on. That's it. Right. So, what we got? The pull start itself is in good condition. That springs back. It's got good spring to it. That's fine. What I suspect was the problem was this. Yeah. So the problem was something to do with this. I don't know if this one-way bearing had an issue. One-way bearing seems alright, but there was pressure around here. This is what I was on about. If the screws are too tight on the different, these have a little bit of a different style pull start on these engines, on these Mach 28s, because these are a Hobao's own engine. They're not made. Well, they might be made by someone else, but I know they're from Hobao. The Mach 28. It says Hyper on it, and it's got Mach 28 on it. These are a Hobao engine. Some of you may be able to correct me and say they're made by this manufacturer and badged up for Hobao. I don't know and I don't care. The fact of the matter is, these are a slightly different design to what you'd find on a K4.6 from HPI, which is effectively a false engine or something else. You know, they're all relatively the same. This has a slightly different design. The one-way bearing is slightly more indented. And if there's any amount of pressure on this little plate thing around the edge here that we can see, so that's perfectly fine now. If I put a little bit of pressure on that, it gets stuck. That's just a little bit of pressure. And if I let go, it goes in. So that's obviously what was the problem. Now, I might be able to get away with either not doing these screws up so tight and then securing them in with a bit of thread lock, or putting little washers, spacers,
in there, so that when I do these up tight, it doesn't pull the pull start right in on that little bit there. I'm suspecting that little bit of brass was the problem. So that's how we can remedy that. We should be able to get this on here now. Yeah, it's a very tight fit, which is to be expected from a brand spanking new whatchamacallit. And I probably should take this exhaust off really, because it would make things a bit easier. But so let's see what it's like. Let's take the glow plug all the way out so it turns over easier. Right, now let's see what it's like with no screws in it at all, just me holding it in place. Huh. Okay. I reckon they're one-way bearing actually. I'm going back on what I just said. That one-way bearing's getting stuck, I think. Don't know. Can't really make my mind up, to be fair. Yeah, it is. Bear in mind, this engine hasn't even ran at all yet, so it's going to be a bit stiff, even with the glow plug not in it. And I know you're all going to say, well, you're spinning it over when it hasn't even been running. Don't worry. I've put oil down inside that piston there before I've done any of this. So I put oil down in it when I got it, and I put a little bit more oil down in it earlier on today after it wouldn't run. I quickly took the plug out and just dumped a little bit of 3-in-1 oil. Got to show everybody everything these days because no one knows what anything is. Dumped a little bit of this down in there just to keep it lubricated because it's brand new and I want to look after it. It seems to be working okay now. I reckon some of the problem is probably just the fact that the one-way bearing, the pulser, everything's brand new, so it's all stiff, and that's a bit of that. That's probably some of the problem. So I'm just going to put the screws in lightly and see if I can get around it. And if I can get this to work, I'll fire it up just briefly here in the garage. I think Moni Bollocks is out, so we'll be alright. He might have come back, but he started going out on a Sunday now, so it's not too bad. There we go. Oh, spoke too soon. Now I reckon this is something which is going to wear in. I'm changing my mind on what I said earlier. I reckon it's the one-way bearing that's a bit sticky, because it's probably brand new. Well, it is brand new, not the pull start. So I'm probably going to put all this back together, put it back in the Truggy, and it's going to get stuck again. But I honestly think by starting this up and running it, it's going to get looser and it's going to be better. Yeah, I honestly think that. And now I'm back at home again. I've got some after run oil, so I'm just going to put a little bit of that down here. I'm going way too overboard, and a lot of you that have been watching me for quite some time are going to be saying, wow, you don't need to do that. You've always said you don't need to oil up the engines and everything. Well, this is brand spanking new for a start, and that seems to be working okay now. I'm happy with that. We'll put that back together. This is brand new for a start. It's never been ran. But furthermore to that, these days everything is so expensive, so it doesn't take 2 seconds just to put a little bit of oil down in there, just because I'm pulling it over dry, aren't I? Because I'm testing it, so I want to make sure that it is lubricated. It's not even been ran in yet, do you know what I mean? It's not had anything. It's never ever ran in my hands. So Bloody hell, I'm talking to you lot and I'm forgetting what I'm doing. Now I'm putting this glow plug in. It's never ran in my hands. It probably never ran. I don't know if they test them in the factory or what they do with them, but so I want to make sure everything is lubed up, just because I want to look after this engine. Because I've got this brand new Truggy, I don't want to have to put a new engine in it anytime soon. So let's see how easy this little bar system thing is. As I say, I've not seen this one before. Normally it's a little nut, so I am quite out of touch. A lot of you are going to say, well, this has been around for bloody 10 years. This cage Truggy as a design, I think it's been out for about 10 years, 9 or 10 years. And they came with like a burnt brushed sort of orange colour cage to start with. And now they've changed it to like a black colour. But it is metal, which is great, not plastic. It's a little bit annoying that you do have to take the bolts out every time, but that's alright. So I have got to do... That was easy on that side. I don't know what it's going to be like on the other side though. It's tucked away in there. Got little split washers on the things that'll keep them tight. Probably should put some thread lock on this, but I don't know yet how this pull start's going to hold up, the one-way bearing even. So I don't know whether I'm going to have to. That mesh is about right. I don't know if I'm going to have to take this engine out again yet, so I'm not going to put any thread lock on them yet. I'll put some thread lock on it once I know I can rely on it, if you know what I mean. It looks like it might be in about the right place. Oh yes, that's much easier. Or was it? Huh. Ah. Have I spoken too soon? I don't know. Have I spoken too soon? Huh. Possibly. Possibly. We'll see in a minute. Yeah, I spoke too soon. They've still got the little nuts in there that are a load of bloody bollocks. Absolutely. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Yeah, I spoke far too soon. Far too soon. What a stupid design. So, down in there, completely out of focus. You can see the nut which goes underneath there in that little rail. The stupidest design of engine mount I've ever seen in my life, but they've been doing it now for over 20 years. Can't understand it. What's wrong with a simple bracket such like you get here, the bolts just go straight in? What's wrong with that? Why do they have to do this stupid thing here with the little nuts and things? Anyway, I'm going to play around with that, get that all together, and then we'll try and fire this up and see if it will run briefly for the first time in its life. Right, so let's just, I'll show you what it is that this is consisting of. Just some of you may not have seen this before. It's you know, listen, it obviously works, which is why they've been doing it for so long, but I just can't understand it. So let's compare. This is more of your typical normal type of engine mount with the pull start that falls off. So it's just like a mount, like a block, whatever you want to call it, with the 2 bolt holes which are stationary. They're not slotted, they're just holes, and you do your mesh with these ones on the bottom of the chassis. So your engine just mounts to this, mounts straight to that. The holes are drilled in this and threaded, so the bolts go straight in. This is the good way, better way. Pretty much what I can think of off the top of my head, every engine in a Nitro car uses this type. Some like the HPI Rush and some other smaller 1/10 and that, don't even use a little mounting thing. They literally bolt the engine straight to the chassis like that. You can use a plinth if you want, but most of them just bolt straight to the chassis like that from the bottom of the engine. But anything bigger, buggies, trucks, Savages, anything else, normally uses this type of thing. And it's just so much easier and better. So with the Hobao way, and FTX and probably some other companies have joined in with this, you've got these little these little mount things here with slots in them. And what you do is hopefully focus sometime this year. Thank you. The bolt goes through, little plate. Sometimes they never had a plate, it was just a nut, but these ones have got a plate. And the nut goes on in there. And then you have to slide it through like that. Which is, it works. And it takes a bit of time to do, but you can do it. And obviously if you do it often, you do it quicker and quicker and quicker each time. But it's a lot of hassle. And it's just, I just think it's a bad way of doing things. I can't understand it. So what I'm going to do, well, I will be keeping this truck for a little while anyway. I'm going to find out if I can find an actual mount that will fit on this engine and in the chassis and use a proper mount rather than this design. But I thought it was an interesting thing to show you, because some of you may not have come across this before and you might not realise what goes on in the world of Hobao and probably some other trucks and engines. Now I'm fully aware, and I've already said it, there'll be loads of you that are just going to say, oh, it's just an engine mount, get on with it, stop moaning about it. I'm not moaning about it. Well, I kind of was a little bit, because I think it's stupid, but it is what it is, and I just think they could have designed it better. They've had all these years to come up with the better design, and they haven't done it, and I think they should do. But that's a pull start for the K4.6. Oh, I went to pick it up by and forgot it wasn't connected. Anyway, let's put this back together. You don't need to see that. You see me took it out, so I'll see you in a second. Alright, let's see what happens. We're either going to get it to run or it won't, or a pull start will break or something will happen like that. Let's see. It needs to wear in, man. It needs to wear in. Alright, so that didn't really go to plan. So the next thing to do, I've taken, I'm not expecting any help from either the shop that I bought this from or from Hobao themselves, because it's just the way, well, it's just the way things are, you know, because people break stuff and then they blame the product or the shop and they want replacements, you know, or they swap parts, and you know, they might buy some, they might already have something that's broken, they buy a brand new one and then put the broken part on and say, oh, this is brand new and it's broken, you know what I mean? So they don't generally do any sort of replacements or anything like that. You'll find that most shops won't. However, it's at their discretion whether they feel like they want to help you. So just in case, I've taken plenty of photographs and videos of what's happened here before I take this apart. Now I'm 100% certain that it's the little mechanism. Probably going to have to take this exhaust off to make things a bit easier. It's the little return, or whatever you want to call it, the one-way mechanism, which is getting stuck. Which is fine, I think it just needs to wear in. But the trouble is, I can't actually get it. I mean, I know some of you are going to say, well, you can always just use a starter box, you know. Use a starter box to start it up until it wears in. I could do. But I don't like starter boxes. More to the point, I don't want to have to rearrange my starter boxes. And secondly to that even, That's not the point, you know. This is equipped with a pull start, so it should work. If it doesn't work, it needs to be rectified. So let's take the back plate off and see what we got going on inside here. Because that doesn't come out on its own. So let's see what's going on, and it also gives us a chance, because you lot always go on at me. You always go on at me. When you buy a new engine, you should take it apart and check it inside it for swarf and other bits and bobs. And I never ever do, because I don't believe in it, to be fair. If a manufacturer makes an engine which is put together, ready to run, ready to be started and used, there should be no swarf in it. Yeah? The person who built that engine should have built it properly and built it, you know, without any debris or swarf or anything inside it. If he hasn't, he's not doing his job properly. So I just don't believe in it. But anyway, that looks good in there. This is the thing which is causing us trouble, as far as I'm concerned. This is getting stuck outwards. This is another unique design to, well, it's not unique, that's the wrong word. Different to HPI and other brands. They have a little pin thing. This little thing pops out, grabs a hold of the crank as you pull it, and then when you let go, that should pop back in again, and then the engine's allowed to spin by itself. But what's happening is this is going out and then it's staying out, which is not allowing the pull start to retract. But of course it's working perfectly fine now, because I've got it in my hands. Still got the glow plug in it, so it's going to be a little bit, well, it's not going to be difficult. I mean, it's a very easy engine to turn over. Everything seems to be okay in there. I've got no reason to doubt any of that whatsoever. There are some small bits of swarf down in the bottom there, so of course that's going to prove you all right. However, do I care? No, is the answer. Could have just not shown you that and you'd never have known, but that's not me. I show everything, even if it puts me in the wrong or the right, I don't care. So this is working okay now, of course. So I'm just going to play around with it. Get that to go in there. I'm going to play around with it. See, that will come out of there, but perhaps if I just put a bit more oil on it. Perhaps if I just oil it up. All that happens is it needs to be worn. It needs to wear in. It's just stiff. That's all it is. There's no other. There's nothing else to it. But I reckon if I oil that up good and proper, that'll give us enough use to be able to get the engine running. And yeah, well, it's as simple as that. There is no more to it. It will give us enough to be able to get the engine running. Now, what oil shall I use? I could use after run oil. I could use 1040 if I wanted to. Bit of 1040, that'll lube it up. Let's use a bit of this. It's annoys some of the die-hard glow engine people. No, you mustn't use that in a glow engine. Oh my god, you'll do some damage. Yeah, 1040. 1040 all the way. Could have used 2-stroke oil, to be fair. Or even after run oil. Anyway, let's lube this up good and proper. Ah, now it's getting stuck with it. Aha! Now it's doing it. Yeah, it needs to be worn. I'm going to do this a few times. You lot might think it's a waste of time, but the answer to that is I just don't care. You can see that there, look. That comes up when you pull it, grabs onto the crankshaft, spins the engine round, and then when you let the pull start go back in again, that goes back inside, and the engine can just be running. Quite a good design, really, when it works. Interesting design. Anyway, I'm going to do this a few times, make sure it's all oiled up. And all I need really is for it just to work so I can get the engine running, and then I'm certain that it'll all become warm and worn and it'll be fine. Right, one more go, and then I'm running out of time for today. Give it a little prime. I'll tell you what I'll do, I'm going to give it a good old heat up. Give it a little bit of a helping hand to start. I just want it to start. One more go and then I'm running out of time. I'll have to go and do some other stuff. Here we go. Get on in a minute. Right, that's fine. I'll leave it there. Get that off of that. I'll leave that there. Now I know that it runs, and hopefully I've remedied the problem with the pull start. So, in my opinion, all it is it was just stiff. The mechanism that we looked at was just really stiff, and it wasn't retracting back when I let go every time. Sometimes it was, but then once it got stuck out, it was stuck out. That was the problem, I'm sure of it. Don't think anything. It's just, when things are new, things are stiff. You know, it's just the way things are. Anyway, I've run out of time for today now. I've got to pack things away and I've got to go and do some other stuff. Got a little bit of shed demolishing and grass cutting for people to do and all this kind of stuff. I always like to help family out as and when I can, so that's what I'm going to go and do now. But the pull start's mended, it runs. Next time you see it, hopefully we'll be out in the field and we'll be running it. Well, running it in and then running it. I want you to let me know in the comments, have you had or got one of these cage truggies? What do you think of it? And had you ever heard of one? Because as I said, these never come up for sale second hand. Never. Anyone I know that's ever had one said that it's so good they don't want to sell it. So people end up keeping them. A lot of cars people have for a while and then they've got no attachment to it, so they're happy to sell it. These Hobao, these cage truggies, people tend to get attached to them because they're so bloody good. They did a really good job with their Hyper SS, or ST, or whatever it was called, their Truggy version. And when they made it into a cage truggy, it made it even better because you don't have a shell to mess around with. You just got a cage that protects all the stuff inside the air filter and the engine, but you don't have a shell. It's great. And it handles great. Well, I don't know about this one because I've not driven it yet, but if it's anything like the Truggy that I had before, the ST, superb. Anyway, I'll catch you a lot later on. Thanks for watching. And I know that some of you will have been triggered by some stuff in this video because of the way that it is. So don't forget to comment about it because I love reading your triggered comments. See you later on. Take care. All the best.